So, the big question is, who actually invented it? Who gets to take the credit for this genius, edible invention? Was it some brilliant, planned-out moment of genius? Or was it just a total fluke, a happy accident?
Well, like I said, the answer isn't simple at all. It turns out there are two main contenders for the title. And you know what? They have completely different stories. It's a real whodunit, and we're going to unpack the whole thing.
Okay, but before we meet our two rivals, we gotta set the scene. You need to understand the world they were living in. See, the ice cream cone wasn't just some fun idea someone had. Nope, it was a solution to a really annoying and costly problem.
So picture this, it's the late 1800s. You've got these street vendors, they were actually called hokey pokey men, which is pretty great, and they're selling flavored ice on these busy city streets. People loved it, but for the vendors, man, it was a total nightmare to manage. So here was the big problem, the thing they were all dealing with. They served the ice in these little glass cups, and you can probably guess what happened next, right? Customers would eat their ice, and then they'd either break the cup or, and this happened a lot, they'd just walk off with it. So for the poor vendors, that meant they were constantly buying new cups. It was just money, right down the drain. They were desperate for a better way to do things.
And that's where our first contender comes in. His name is Italo Marchioni. Now, his story isn't about some lucky break. Not at all. It's about a guy who saw the problem up close and personal and decided to straight up invent his way out of it. See, Marchioni was one of those pushcart vendors himself, so he knew exactly how frustrating it was. He was just sick and tired of losing money on those glass cups. His motivation? It was simple. It was practical. He had to create a cup you could eat just to stop losing cash.
And he really went about it like an inventor, you know? He spent years in the late 1890s just experimenting. He was messing around with hot waffles, trying to fold them into cups that would actually hold their shape. Finally, by 1902, he cracked it. He was so confident, he applied for a patent for a special molding machine to make them. And in 1903, boom, patent granted. So that's it, right? Case closed? Well, not so fast.
Because Marchioni's patent is not the end of the story. Let's introduce claimant number 2, a guy named Ernest Hamwi. And his story? It's the total opposite. It has nothing to do with patents or years of experiments. It's all about thinking on your feet and helping someone out in a pinch.
Okay, so now we're in 1904, a year after the patent. Hamwi has his own cart, and he's selling this really thin, crispy waffle-like pastry. It's called a zalabi. And, as luck would have it, he's set up his cart right next to an ice cream vendor.
And then, disaster. The ice cream guy next to him completely runs out of cups. He's got a line of customers and nothing to serve them in. So Hamwi sees this, and in a flash of genius, he takes one of his hot zalabi right off the griddle, rolls it up into a cone shape, and just hands it to the guy. And just like that, an instant edible ice cream cone is born. Pure improvisation.
But of course, it's not that simple. This is where the story gets really juicy. See, there are actually two versions of this happy accident. In one telling, Hamwi just comes up with the idea all on his own. But in the other version, guess who the ice cream vendor was? None other than our first guy, Italo Marchioni. And in that story, Marchioni is the one who asks Hamwi to roll up a waffle. Crazy, right? So there you have it. One groundbreaking invention, two totally different origin stories. Who gets the credit here? Is it the guy who spent years inventing and got the patent? Or is it the guy who had that spark of genius in the moment?
All right, let's just lay it all out side by side. You've got Marchioni, the inventor. His motivation was solving a business problem. He was methodical, he experimented, and he got his patent in 1903. Then you've got Hamwi, the helper. His motivation was to help a neighbor. His method was pure improvisation, and his story happens in 1904, a year after the patent. So what do you think? The truth is, history hasn't really decided. There's no clear winner here. Both stories are still told, and both guys seem to have played a role. It just goes to show you, right? Invention isn't always this one eureka moment. It's often messy and complicated, with lots of people contributing along the way.
But here's the thing. Whether it was Marchioni or Hamwi, or maybe a little bit of both, it almost doesn't matter. Because one thing is absolutely certain. The ice cream cone was a massive, massive hit. Its impact was just huge.
I mean, think about it. The edible cone did way more than just solve the broken glass problem. It completely changed how we eat ice cream. All of a sudden, you didn't have to sit down with a dish and a spoon. Ice cream became portable, became convenient. It was the perfect thing for a walk in the park. It was a total game changer for the entire industry.
And if you want proof, how about this?
By 1924, so just about 20 years after all this went down, factories in America were pumping out an unbelievable 245 million cones in just 1 year. The demand was just off the charts.
And that love for the cone has only grown. I mean, sometimes to ridiculous heights, literally. Get this, the world's tallest ice cream cone was made in Norway, and it stood at 3.8 meters. That is over 12 feet tall. Can you even imagine 12 feet of ice cream cone?
So yeah, the next time you're holding an ice cream cone, you'll know there's this whole tangled, contested story behind it. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other super simple things that we use every day have these wild, secret histories we know nothing about? Something to chew on for sure.